Are you Team Pink or Team Peach? We're going to talk about it today. We're going to talk all about undertones and have a little beauty education while also testing out some new Huda Beauty products that I have bought, including the color correctors as well as the setting powders. So if that interests you, stick around and we will hop right on in. Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. I am Cher, and as I said, we're gonna be doing a little more beauty education today. This is kind of a series I've been talking about bringing to the channel, eventually maybe offering classes or workshops. I've been kind of wanting to bring you at least like once a month, maybe sort of a back to basics, makeup 101. We're gonna be talking a lot about undertones today. Now, I've heard from a lot of you guys when I asked and did a little survey of you in my community tab, asking for ideas, and on my Instagram too. And I've gotten some different things that people want to see. And so just know that I am keeping that in mind. At some point, we'll bring them to you. I appreciate you guys giving me your input on the polls because I do want to know like what kind of things you guys need help with. And so continue to let me know in the comments below about feature topics you'd love to see and really want the help with. The reason I chose undertones today is mostly because I had been wanting to check out this new Huda Beauty campaign she has going on. And so she came out with the peach pie setting powder, and she kind of has a little campaign going out there. And I definitely wanted to hop on the train, and I thought this will be a really good teachable moment for you guys. Not to mention I wanted to stock up on them for my professional makeup kit because I am a professional makeup artist too. So we're gonna kind of do a 3-in-1 today. Okay guys, so let's get started and we're gonna start talking. This is gonna be kind of about undertones, how to figure out your undertone and which one you are, and how to match your makeup accordingly so that, you know, it's the best skin match for you. So this is going to be all about like foundation matching, what are the right shades, a little bit of color correcting. We're going to touch on a little bit of it today, but I do want a more full video on that. So keep that in mind too. And keep in mind also that I do put timestamps down in my caption on these lengthier videos like this, or where we're breaking it into sections. So you can check the timestamps below in the caption to see if there's any sections that interest you more than others and kind of the outline that we're going to follow. Okay, so let's first talk about undertone and what it is. I think that some people might get it confused with skin tone. There's a difference between skin tone versus undertone. So think of it like your skin tone is more your outer layer of skin, whereas your undertone is the under layer of skin. Okay, so think of it more like your outer and under. The outer layer or your skin tone, technically, it's really the amount of melanin that is in your skin, which is like the pigment. So this can actually change. And this is going to change based on how long you've been sitting out in the sun. So when you tan, your skin tone is changing. And so you may be darker or lighter as a skin tone, but this can fluctuate, okay? And so I think that people get confused because they just automatically think of, oh, well, I'm tan, so this is gonna be, I just need a darker foundation or a darker whatever. But they're missing that you have an undertone, which is your underlying skin tone, maybe more like your inherent skin tone, like what kind of hue there is in your skin. And so this is kind of more what we're talking about. And that's a little harder to target unless you're, you know, used to it and have really learned it and practiced it. So with undertones, there are 3 different kinds of undertones. You have cool, you have warm, and you have neutral. I am a neutral skin tone. I can wear both cool and warm, and that's why I can actually demonstrate some things for you today because I can pull off both looks. So your neutral people, they can pretty much wear it all, like all makeup. But you have cool tone folks. You tend to think of cool tone as like, I don't like it when people say fair toned to mean cool, because you could be fair skinned and still be on the warm undertone shade, okay? But you do kind of think of it more, a lot of times I see it with my more pale girls, you know, um, and guys. But, you know, I do tend to see it with a little more fair complexions, but you can also be a deep skin tone lady, a woman of color, and have a pink undertone still, or a cool undertone still. All right. So keep that in mind. It's not about how dark you are or how light you are. It's, do you fall on the cool or the warm undertone shade? You don't tend to get neutrals with deeper tone ladies, though, just letting you know that. You're usually one or the other. So, and if you try to put a neutral face down on a woman of color, she's going to look very ashy. Just a little side note there. Okay, so your cool tone girls, let's talk about what characteristics make up a cool tone person and how you would know if you were cool tone or not, and which side you fall on, or if you're trying to do somebody else's makeup and you need to identify on them, you know, whether they're cool or warm. So here's some characteristics of somebody who's cool tone. They tend to burn very easily. So if you sit out in the sun, you got to be so careful with sunscreen because you immediately burn and it just, ouch. Now, I'm a neutral, so I do burn and fairly easily. However, my burn turns to tan immediately. And unfortunately, I did not take care of my skin when I was younger. And I thought, oh, look, this is my best way to tan really quickly, is to get a burn and then it turns into tan the next day. Woohoo! And so I was terrible with my skin, and all these wrinkles you see up here, that's the result. But anyway, I digress. So cool tone people, though, tend to just burn. Okay. Warm tone people don't really burn that much. It turns into a beautiful olive tan. We're so jealous of those folks. Okay, cool tone also tends to look better in silver jewelry. All right, if you just feel like naturally your skin just looks much better in silver, gold just kind of looks off on you, you're more likely a cool tone person. Another way to tell is check your veins. All right. I don't know if you can see my veins. They look blue on camera to y'all, but I can tell you guys, I have both blue and green veins. So again, I'm neutral when I have both. If you're cool tone, you're going to have more blue. You're going to see more blue veins, okay, in your skin. If you're warm tone, you're going to see more green veins. So pretty neat thing. And then neutral, like you got both, like me. So what are some other ways to tell? I mean, just, you know, generally like clothing that looks better on you, like these dark blue colors, light pinks and pastels, you know, these cooler tone shades are going to look better on cool tone people. If you look better more in like yellows and reds and orange and brown and like warm shades, you're probably more on a warm tone, on the warm tone side. Okay. So how to tell if you're warm tone? Well, we kind of talked about some of it while we were talking about cool tone, but you know, if you're warm, you don't tend to burn very easily. It turns more into a beautiful olive, bronzy shade, green veins, and you tend to look better in gold jewelry instead of silver. So those are some quick ways to know. So anyway, that's kind of an overview of the basics of the types of undertones and how to tell what undertone you are. So now let's start talking about what shades and like in your makeup work for which undertones. Okay, so let's start talking all complexion products. And when I talk about complexion products, I'm referring to like foundation, concealer, powders, even your contours, bronzers, those kinds of things where they really are very dependent on your undertone for skin matching. Okay, so let's talk foundation first, and kind of the same thing will apply across the board for the most part. A lot of foundations will tell you what the undertone is. They'll mark it as C for cool, or Y for yellow, or N for neutral. A lot of them will. Some of them won't tell you that though, and you just got to figure it out. Sometimes they'll mark it as R for red, like Makeup Forever, I think, which is what I've been using a lot lately for my clients now. So like this, for example, 1R12, the R in it refers to red or pink undertone. Okay. And then I think they do Y for yellow. So they're referring to red or yellow undertone. Red's gonna be more on the cool tone. Yellow's gonna be more on the warm tone. So you have to just kind of like know each brand and how they label the undertones and look for that accordingly. Now, some don't tell you, so you have to kind of start to know what they tend to label things and what that means. If you tend to see the word bronze a lot in the shade names, it's going to tend to be more warm skin tones, okay? If you see the word rosy or pink, taupe, if you see those buzzwords, it's going to tend to lean more on the cool shades. If you tend to see the word beige, that usually is more in like the neutral zone for the most part. Sometimes that's different, but that's kind of how you can kind of know in general if they don't clearly label for you what the undertones are. So it just depends on the brand as to how you're going to look for it to know. So once you determine what your undertone is, you got to kind of start looking under the right category for you. Once you've identified if you're cool or yellow, from there, then you look to the skin tone, which is where you're going to go more from like light shades to medium shades up to deep shades. The best way to skin tone, like match yourself, is do it along your jawline right here, so that you can kind of see the change between your neck color and your jaw color. If you have a much darker body than your face because of tanning or whatever, it's kind of up to you and the preference of if you want your face to match your body more. I don't tend to match it to the neck because you're usually more pale here, like shaded in. But this kind of gives you a feel for like blending it all together. You know, if you do it right here at the jawline, that's your best spot. Okay. Okay. Same thing applies for concealers. I mean, all the complexion products really. So just taking a quick peek at some concealers. So right there, like Tarte Shape Tape, they tell you this one is fair neutral. So they're telling you right there that it is a neutral, and you can tell for fair, it's gonna be for a pretty white person. It also depends on what you're using your concealer for. You wanna get your undertone correct. You gotta figure out what your undertone is for your concealer. However, the second part, when it gets to comes to your skin tone, that's where you can have two different shades of concealer. You want to match your skin tone exactly if you want to conceal something. So like if I want to cover up something like this, now I would actually do some color correcting here, but say like we're going to go simple with simple concealer, regular concealer. If I want to cover up a blemish, I need to go with the same skin tone, okay? I need to match my skin tone. This is not my skin tone. I don't have any here that are my skin tone in my hand right now, but I'll go with something this shade. However, if I want to use it more as a highlighting technique where I'm brightening under the eyes and everything, I want to go a shade or two lighter than mine. So I might actually use this one as my concealer under the eyes because I'm a neutral and this is pretty fair and it's definitely lighter than my skin tone. Okay, so does that make sense? So you're going to go lighter in skin tone, but not undertone, all right? If that makes sense. Okay, so anyway, some of the concealers will tell you like this one, but some will not, okay? The new redo on the Maybelline Magic Erase concealers, they're not really telling you anymore. They just label the numbers. You're going to have to just look at it and tell yourself, really. This is not the pink one. This is just the lightest I've seen. I think I've actually used this on my neutral girls that were just really pale, but they were still neutral and not cool tone. But then obviously this one, these were the old way they labeled it, and this is called warm olive. So you obviously know this is for a warm skin tone. So I'm just kind of telling you generally with concealer, and we're going to talk about the color correcting part in a minute. Okay, so then when we have powders are going to be more limited in how many shades you have. They're not like foundations that you're going to have. You could have 20 shades of foundations to find the right shade. But with powders, you're limited to like, I don't know, 3 to 5 shade ranges maybe. So you're pretty much going to have like a light, a medium, and a dark. And some of them tend to do it more on skin tone and not necessarily undertone. Some may even do more of a universal clear powder, like the RCMA that I have here. I have used this on women of color too, even though it looks like very, very white, but it's not like, you know, it's a translucent powder, but it's just kind of for like everybody and universal. But the more you can kind of match to the undertone and skin tone, the better. So case in point, like I have my Laura Mercier powder, and you guys, if you've been around, you know, this is my ride or die. So you have the regular translucent, which is fairly universal. I mean, you know, it's translucent just means it's like see-through. I mean, however, she does have the honey shaded translucent. So I will switch to a honey side if there is somebody who has a warmer skin tone, you know, because it's going to bring out more of that. It's not going to be so sheer and bright. It's just going to look better on their undertone. Okay. And then if they have even a deeper skin tone, I'm going to go with the medium deep. Okay. So, now these are a little more skin tones as opposed to undertones. However, I don't use a honey translucent on just a more tan pink tone person, okay, because it is more warm. So I kind of tend to stick to the translucent. Even if somebody's deeper, if they're more pink tone, I just stick to translucent. Just keep it in mind, like you're going to switch to different things, but there's going to be less options as you get to powders and all. This is a good time to go ahead and start talking about our powders and starting to try out the Huda Beauty, and talking about this introduction of the color correcting and some color theory here. This is what is playing into the whole brightening trend. All right, so pink powders right now are like all the rage. Okay, so we have, you know, the one size pink powder. We've got Huda Beauty's Cherry Blossom powder, and we have the Maybelline Viral pink concealer. It looks so yellow on screen, but it is pink as can be in person. So anyway, all of these viral products you guys have probably seen, they're like just the pink trend. Why is it so trendy? What is it doing for you? So it's a very brightening agent. When you add pink into your concealers and powders like this, especially for under the eyes, here is why. It's because it's color correcting. It's the power of color correcting.
But to clarify really quickly, there is a difference between color correcting and actually brightening. With the brightening, it's going to be the lighter shades of pink. But color correcting in general, we're going to talk about here.
So under our eye area is, you can see we've got a little bit of, this is where we carry our dark circles. I talked about this in my little eye mask video too, that I can link for you. But the area here under our eyes is the thinnest. And so we're seeing our veins more under there than you do in other parts of our skin. So it turns into this kind of almost blue purpley tint, which is a lot more pronounced on some people than others. And so a lot of our under eye products, you know, if we go at it with a peach or pink color, it's going to cancel out that blue. And it's because peach and pink are the opposite on the color wheel from the color blues and purples. Okay, so that's the whole idea with this pink viral trend, is that we're canceling out blue and purple under the eyes, thus creating a much more brightened, clearer effect under here than just normal concealer. So our regular concealer can still cover this area, but the power of blending and color correcting with it is even more powerful. And so that's what our pinks are doing. The problem is if you are a warm tone person and you try to apply pink under your eyes, oops, wrong, yeah. You try to apply this pink under your eyes, you're gonna look ridiculous. You're gonna look like a reverse raccoon. You're gonna have this big patch of like, I don't even wanna say ash. It's gonna look silly. So you wanna get the, you can still do the same idea, but you wanna go more with warmer shades than the cooler shades, right? So we're still going to do this same idea of color correcting and brightening under the eyes, but we need to do it for the appropriate skin tone. So basically, if you are more of a cool skin tone, then you want to go more with the pinks if you want to brighten under the eyes, okay? So that is going to include both concealers and powders, but if you have a warmer skin tone, you want to stick more with the peaches because the peaches are going to be more on the warm side. And then it depends on your skin tone too, okay? Now, Huda Beauty, like if you go to her website, you can find all of this under her little campaign, Team Pink, Team Peach, and you will find different shade ranges for whether you want to go with pink or whether you want to go with peach, okay? And you should be able to find this on other sites too, but this, hers especially, is really outlining this very well for you. So like, for example, in the peach colors, I have the shade Mango, which is the second one up. It's not the most light color pink. It's the second to lightest, okay? So if you're a deeper skin tone lady, but you'd like to still play around with this peach, just go up to higher skin tones in it, okay? And same if you are on the pink side, there are deeper shades of this pink also for you, okay? This is the lightest one, I think, is the Cherry Blossom. This is the most popular, and it's just because like the lighter you're going, the more light and bright it is, you know? And then there's also the one size, which I like this one too, by the way. You can just buy other correctors though. I mean, go to the store and get you some peach corrector for $3. LA Girl, one of the best concealers you'll ever find. They have all different shade ranges. So you could get, if you're a deeper skin tone, go with a lot more almost to orange in it, or you can go on the lighter peach side. e.l.f. has come up with color correctors too. I know Tarte has in their Tarte Shape Tape now. So you can find a lot of other color correctors too. You don't have to just stick with Huda Beauty and like really expensive ones. These were more pricey. So you can find different color correctors out there to do the same idea.
So one more thing to clarify. Now, if you have a bruise or something you're really trying to cover that truly does have a dark purple shade like this one, you're going to want to go opposite of the color wheel. And so we would choose peach for this no matter what the undertone, because we are trying to really target getting rid of that color. So there are instances where the pink versus peach just don't matter. It's more what you're trying to cover. But in general, I'm kind of talking about what's more flattering on different skin tones.
And it may be that if your eye bags are really purple, you may just want to stick with peach no matter what. We're going to try this out. What we're going to do is we're going to do Team Pink on one side of the face and Team Peach on the other. And I know that's crazy, but it's going to be fun. And I'm going to do all like cool tone on one side and all warm tone on the other. It's going to be my cool tone side, and this is going to be my warm tone side. So I'm going to keep it consistent where we're going to pick an eyeshadow that's more cool versus warm with it. All right. So I thought a good way to demonstrate would be these two ColourPop palettes that we just got. This one is a little warmer, but we're still going with a very pretty dainty lighter shade look, you know? So like these are more peaches, you know what I mean? These are a little bit cooler. So these are more pinky. I mean, they're going to be a little more like almost maroon, got a little hint of almost purple, but they're just slightly more cooler toned shaded. So I'm going to kind of demonstrate that. Can y'all tell the difference? So even in your eyeshadow colors, you've got similar shade ideas. Like these are pinks still, but it's more warm, peachier, orangier, and these are more purplier, right? So same idea in your makeup. Let me grab a couple of palettes and just see if I can give you an example real quick. Okay, let's look at this Morphe palette. So this, you got a lot of reds in here, okay? So, but these are more on your warm reds, right? This is a little more cool. You see how you're starting to get into a little bit more of a purple base in there than your brighter, like orangey reds. So cool reds, warm reds. Warm, okay, cool. So you're starting to kind of get a feel for like what is going to be better. So if you're cool tone, you want to hang out in here, here. If you're warm tone, you want to hang out in here, maybe some here, okay? So hopefully that kind of helps demonstrate a little bit. And then similarly, even with your blush, when you go to pull out your blush, you want a little bit more on the warm side, needs to be more peaches, corals, bronzier. Cool tones are going to want to stick to hot pink, light pink. If you want to go deeper, then like even burgundies and more purpley pinks, you know, darker. So same idea. Lipstick shades, same thing. You know, you can have a very warm, bright red in your reds. I mean, same shade ideas, but in your lipsticks too. Okay, so across the board, same idea, but just as you're picking out your colors, that's what you want to keep in mind. All right, so anyway, let's hop into, we're going to do our eyeshadow real quick. All right, here we go. Team Peach, Team Pink. The cool versus warmer undertones, right? All right. All right, guys, how are we looking? A little silly so far, right? We're going to do the pink side first. Okay, the idea with when you want to color correct under the eyes, technically it's correct to do the color corrector and your regular concealer on top of that. Little dab of this on first, really just in those like extra, you know, blue and purple spots areas, and then do your overall highlighting with your regular concealer to kind of blend over that. So the name of this, by the way, is Faux Filter Corrector, the Huda Beauty, okay? So we're going to come in just in these corners, especially where it needs the most brightening, like right there. And for me, you can see it is definitely super brightening for me. I might even just kind of tap it the rest of the way. I don't want too much because the more layering you do under your eyes, guys, the more cakey it's going to get. And we're going to come over it. Now, this is my own personal concealer, so I'm not going to worry about damaging the rest of it. I'm just going to kind of put some all around here, and we will blend it up into it. Blender for the rest of this, and see how that goes. So there is one side done with it. This is the shade Mango. This one's harder to get on the brush though. It looks like an extension of my eyeshadow, doesn't it? Okay. I put a little bit more right in that spot because that's the worst spot, you know, of under eye bags. Is right up in the corners. Look at that, guys. I feel like, of course, it could be the lights. My lighting. Yeah, both sides still show a little bit of blue. I feel like this side's covering better, isn't it? I think the reason there's more coming through on this side than this side, I'm going to tell you why. The Mango is a deeper shade, the deeper skin tone than the Cherry Blossom. This is the lightest shade, and this is the second to lightest shade. That's why. The Mango is a closer skin tone match to my skin than the Cherry Blossom is. The Cherry Blossom is the lightest that there is, so it's probably better for paler girls than me. And I think that's why there's more showing through. I think that's my theory.
Or it could also be that my eye bags themselves are just more purple too and need the peach more.
So I may not have had the best, I probably should have gotten the next shade up on the pink one, but Same idea, but you can tell, like, you know, skin tone wise coming through. Now let's move on to the powder. Keep in mind, this is the translucent powder part, not like a finishing powder, okay? And we're just gonna go on top of it. I like to kind of go along the line right here. And then we're gonna bring it down. Ooh, it feels good and smooth and silky. I can just tell from how it's like sitting on the face. Okay, if you want to make it even more like packed in and matte or something and really like bake, a powder puff is great. Okay. I've not done contour yet, so I'm not going to worry about the placements. And now I'm going to dump out some peach pie for the other side. All right, we're going to let those sit for a minute. Right back. Look. You know, it might just be that my light's more over on this side, but it's like I almost feel like the peach is giving me a smoother finish than the cherry blossom still. Don't y'all think? Like all the way around? I really do think that it's just that I got a better skin tone match on that mango. Yeah. Okay, so now I think we got the idea. I really like these powders, like how they blend. I see the appeal. I'm going to pretty much just finish my look real quick. All right, for the cool tone side, I am going to go with this very taupey looking shade, very small. It's a bronzer, and this is from Too Faced. It's their little winter, I don't even remember the name of it, but it's a lot more on the cool tone shade. So if you're a cool tone, you probably want to stick with this kind of shade coloring. Okay, and then on the warm side, I'm just going to use the Benefit Hoola Bronzer. It's a little more, it's not like super warm, but it's deeper. It's a little more universal color, I think, but it's a little warmer on me. All right, so we got cool tone, warm tone, bronze. Now we're going to do blush. All right, so I'm going to go with a cool tone blush on this side and a very warm tone blush on this side. I forgot this one. You don't need a whole lot. I went a little wild. And we will do this side and we'll see if we need to blend a little more. Okay. Now, I'm going to pop on some finishing powder. They'll be just all the same shade, I think. That is a last step. All right, for the cool tone side, I'm going to pick a little pink highlight over here. Okay. Then I'm doing this new, the one we got from the Chic Beauty Box, the Physicians Formula, because it is quite gold and champagne, so a little more warm. All right, we're gonna go with Blushing, which is LA Girl lip liner. More on the cool tone, you know, pink side here, as opposed to Stockholm NYX. All right, and now the lipstick. I'm gonna go with this Demnessa Myricks kit. I'm gonna pick the more pink cool tone versus a warmer tone peach. Right, there we have it. Okay, Team Pink and Team Peach. Let's talk about it. All right, so first of all, I think overall the peach side, the powder and like basically my under eye area is so much more seamless than on this side. So I think that the key was the skin tone shade that I picked up. I just don't think I went deep enough over here on the Cherry Blossom. And I will be honest with you guys, whenever I've picked up these trending pink formulas, I seem to have this problem. And I think it is because they're making like one universal shade of pink that's viral, but it's not universal for everyone's skin tones. I think that those viral pink shades are great for very light toned, cool toned girls, okay? Or neutrals, but they're very fair skinned girls. And guys, sorry, I don't mean to discriminate. So I think that keep in mind, if you don't like the look of it in the finish, or you're not getting enough coverage or whatever, then what you probably want to do is to switch to something like this Huda Beauty, where you can pick deeper shades, Huda Beauty or LA Girl, you know, one of those where there's different shade ranges within the undertones, okay? So that's my tip to you guys there. But overall, I love how it's sitting. I love the formula. I love how it was blending. It feels, the powder is very like, almost like a silky finish is the best way I know how to describe it. And I love that. I just don't feel like the Cherry Blossom is working too well here for me, like coverage wise. And even my, my blush does this too. Now I probably pigmented a little too much. So in this case, again, we'll talk about color correcting another time, but these deep pinky tones too really bring out my hyperpigmentation, my age spots and stuff here. So coverage wise, like I should have come in and color corrected here first too, before trying to come in and cover. Yeah. Anyway, so this is a whole nother lesson here. All right. We can cover some of that in the color correcting, how to color correct and spot. This side looks so much better, but again, I think it is because I have the right, you know, skin tone as opposed to undertone. Either one should work on me, but it's just coverage wise, yeah, not doing great over here. I mean, honestly, like the pink side just is not looking so good on me. The base is a hot mess on this side, I personally think, and this side it looks great, I think. So, but I don't think that's any knock on the products. I love the Huda Beauty products. I liked how it blended. Anyway, I think that wraps it up though for today. I hope that was super helpful as far as educating you guys and giving you a lesson in undertones while at the same time testing these products. And this was such a great demonstration of it, I think. Let me know. Are you team pink or peach? Let me know your vote. Make sure you stick around for more like this. If it was helpful to you, pop that subscribe, turn the notification bell on, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.